How do you connect Christians a century or two after Jesus with children in German villages in the Middle Ages, with the latest ideas, latest thinking about the science of learning, with something really important for us today? The answer is catechism, catechizing, the process of being taught. Catechism might be an unfamiliar word, but let me explain. In those early centuries after Jesus, people were becoming followers of Christ, but they didn't have any Christian background. They were leaving an old way of life, but needed teaching about a new way of life. So those believers were given training. It was quite normal to have 3 years of training, maybe an evening a week for kind of seasons of the year. We'd go, maybe the bishop himself would devote one of his main jobs was teaching the catechism, catechizing these early believers to give them a good foundation. And as I said, 1, 2, or 3 years was quite normal. In the Middle Ages, a German monk called Martin Luther had discovered, he'd reading his Bible, and discovered the great news that God really loves us, really loves us. He was excited, and people got excited too. They started learning from him and reading his sermons and so on. A few years later, he went around the local villages and found, well, it's a mess. The children didn't understand, the adults didn't understand, the vicars, the ministers didn't understand what the Bible taught. So they were confused and messed up and didn't understand the depths of God's love for them. So he wrote a catechism. It's a question and answer way of learning the foundations. It's an absolute gem, this one. In the last few years, I've been really interested in the science of learning. How do people become creative? How do we learn skills? How can we become wise? And the evidence is really clear. Learning a foundation of knowledge. The foundation is really important. Memorizing ideas and facts, getting that foundational knowledge in place, learning how this reality fits with that fact, and this getting this foundation right is vital if we're going to be creative and skilled in navigating life. These modern books show us that those early Christians were dead right. Martin Luther was right. Catechism is about getting the foundations right. It used to be entirely normal for children and for those new to the faith to spend time getting those foundations in place, learning the Apostles' Creed, the Ten Commandments, the Lord's Prayer, understanding them, knowing what baptism and communion are all about. And you never really grow beyond. You grow deeper, but you never go beyond those great foundations. Around the world, I think the last few years, Christians have been rediscovering the value of catechisms. So at St. George's Church, we're going to get stuck into one. There's some really good ones out there. My favourite is the Heidelberg Catechism. It's been deeply loved for centuries, but it's a bit long, and we're just getting going with this. So I've chosen the new City Catechism. It takes loads of great ideas, wisdom, material from Christians in the past, and then simplified it into 52 questions and answers. So one question for each week of the year. Starting next week, we're going to go through the new City Catechism. Now you can get involved. In fact, you need to get involved if you want to take part in this adventure of getting good foundations, becoming wise, asking the Spirit to get our thinking straight, and therefore our lives will be more fruitful and a blessing for others. You can find the New City Catechism online. It's free, it's really easy to use. There's a question and answer. There's a Bible verse. There's some reading if you want to. and a prayer. The children's version has slightly shorter answers, but they're designed so the short answer is part of the longer answer. So you can learn the short one and then just expand it a bit to get the longer answer. You can also get the New City Catechism as a free app for Android and iPhones. It's really easy to use again. There are songs to help you learn the children's answers. You can get books as well. Don't use Amazon. Use 10ofthose.com. It's the best online shop for Christian books. Or ask me, and if several people are interested, I'll order a few and get a discount. Learning a catechism or using a catechism is a bit like going to the gym. There's work to be done, but you're going to get stronger and healthier. Jesus told a famous parable that there are two builders. One built his house on sand, the storm came, crash, it fell down. The other built his house on rock. When the storm came, it stood firm. How do we build our house on rock? By building our life on the teachings of Jesus in the Bible. And catechism is one of the chief ways of building a house that will stand firm. So join me. Get hold of the resources, find it online for free, get the app, have a browse of it. Next week, let's build our house, our life on the rock. Let's learn the New City Catechism.